All right, let's talk President Trump for a second. What was the one thing that you guys thought, as you analyzed this race, that was a standout difference between, say, 2016 and 2020 when it came to how he conducted his campaign?
Well, I think that this was much more disciplined, Sean. I think that he learned lessons, and you see him learning lessons from his past campaigns. And one of them is to not have chaos beneath him. Right? There's a really critical moment where Corey Lewandowski gets brought in, and he's pushing on Susie Wiles, the campaign manager, and Chris LaCivita, and he's suggesting to Trump that they're mismanaging the money. And as you know, with President Trump, there's no greater sin than mismanaging his money. And ultimately, Susie and Chris, who ran a good primary campaign, who are running the general election, they go to President Trump and they basically say, you got to make a decision here. Like, it's untenable to have Corey undermining us at every turn. So there's this scene on Trump Force One where the president calls Corey up, to his table on the plane, and sits him down and says, "Look, Chris and Susie, like, they're in charge, and you need to go campaign for me, go on television, go to New Hampshire where you're from, work on the campaign there, but you're not going to be running this campaign." And it was Donald Trump choosing to court stability instead of chaos at a key juncture in the campaign, because at that point, Harris had sort of taken off and she had recouped what Biden had lost on the Democratic side. And it was a pretty even race at that point.
But Corey, here's the thing. He keeps crawling back, right? There's story after story about Corey being a destroyer, coming in, trying to take people out, stabbing in the back, and again, like, this has been the case for 10 years. And yet he gets pushed off the plane, and then he kind of snakes his way back in to some degree.
He does. And there's the final, one of the final scenes of the book is on election night, and Corey's trying to get on stage, and he wants to get himself into a better position on stage. And Chris LaCivita is telling Justin Caporal, who's another senior campaign official, he doesn't want Corey to get a nice position on stage or whatever. And Corey walks up to Chris and he says, I've never done anything to you. And then Chris, none of the words he used to Corey were clean, so I can't quote any of it, except for he said something to the effect of, "I'm going to gut you like a fish." And look, I mean,
very LaCivita, by the way, very LaCivita.
But Corey pops back up. I mean, I believe Corey's at the Department of Homeland Security right now.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story.
He crops up and he crops up. But I think the important thing here is that President Trump really put faith in his team that had gotten him there, and again courted stability instead of chaos in that moment. And I think you see that throughout the course of the campaign. And I think that even on issues that there were a couple of times where he really listened to his staff. On the abortion issue, he decides not to do a national ban after he gets shown a slideshow.
Vince Haley. You guys talk about Vince Haley, who devout Catholic, really smart guy, and shows him that polling.
Yeah, and he basically says, if you do a national ban, you're going to take abortion rights away from, you're going to take abortion from voters who care about that in swing states. But if you do state by state, that issue's off the table because it's not going to change abortion in their states. And I think that was really key to open the door for people who like Donald Trump but differ from him on the the question of life. And one other topic where you see that change is that he promoted early voting this time around.
Yeah.
Which was key. He was able to bank votes early on. And even though he doesn't believe in early voting, and we know, from his past campaigns and from what he's done in office now, that's not something he believes in. It's something that he has told his supporters not to believe in. And yet it was something that was really crucial for him strategically to get early votes banked. And you see how Susie Wiles and others sort of socialize him on the idea. And the way that they say it to him, and this is a smart approach, is you can save money by doing early voting, because once those people have voted, you don't have to spend money to keep contacting them.
Very much. Amie, you guys write about Alex Bruzewicz and how he's trying to get Donald Trump to do podcasts. And Donald Trump, I think the story is something like they're on the golf course and he says, "Go talk to Barron." Yeah. And of course they're like, how do we get in touch with Barron Trump? Walk us through that.
Yeah, I mean, it was another revelation, and Jon and I found this really interesting. I mean, Donald Trump kind of rewrote his campaign, kind of rewrote the playbook in terms of going on these podcasts, reaching out to young men. And he relies on Barron, of all people, for advice on how to go about doing this. So he does instruct his campaign aides to go talk to Barron, and Barron has a big hand in the success of the podcasts. And that's something that when you look at the other side, they didn't do so well. You know, they tried so hard to get her on Joe Rogan's show, as we detail in this book. But Donald Trump had kind of done what he needed to do in terms of luring particularly white men. And a lot of this is because of his use of podcasts.
All right, the last question I want to ask you guys. When you have a book like this, and you guys have a history, Amie, you've got them behind you, Lucky, Shattered, whatever. This time, though, you guys really, I mean, you guys have always had really interesting insights into this, but this time, I read it and I thought, wow, this has got to strike a chord. Like, they're airing some serious dirty laundry on the Kamala front, on the Biden front, Pelosi, Obama, right? Just the last thing I want to ask you is, what has been the reaction? Are they like, good, we got it out, that's great? Or are they like, I can't believe so-and-so said X, right? Are they pissed at each other for diming each other out? Or are they like, that felt good, let's move on to 2028?
Oh, they're pissed at each other, Sean, and they're pissed at us. And you know, that's what we hear. We get nasty grams on a daily basis from from fairly senior people in the Democratic Party, and often what they're angry about some scene that got reported, and then when you ask them what's wrong with it, they'll be like, well, he called her, it wasn't that she called him, and they're like, I mean, come on, like,
yeah,
the book is the book has definitely hit a nerve in the Democratic Party, and I think it struck a chord with Republicans.
Amie, anything that you found interesting about the reaction? I mean, Jon and I have really solid reporting. We've done 3 of these, as you mentioned. We've always felt really good about our reporting, and we went into this. We wanted to give people an opportunity. Everyone saw this play out, but I think the beauty of this book and our other books is that you really, really go behind the scenes and you do a deep dive into what each player was thinking. And I think you learn something on every page.
Yeah. I like I said, the book is Fight Inside the Wildest Battle for the White House. As I've said to you guys, I mean, this is book dog ear little marquee after, because to me, like, I love political books. You guys did a great job writing this one. If you're interested in either side, like I said, I found it fascinating because it kind of covered it from all angles. You got the Trump side, you got the Kamala side, the Biden side, Pelosi. So I thought it was excellent. Job well done, guys. Thanks for being with us. And I'm looking forward for the 4th one now.
Thanks, Sean.
4 years from now. Thanks, Sean.
Yeah. By the way, my 4th book was a children's book. So if you guys want to go in that direction, let me know.
Yeah, I'd love that.
It sounds like it might be a little easier. Hopefully a little easier.
Take care. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Sean.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.